Scorpio, seeker of what lives beneath the surface, this is far more than another horoscope video passing across your screen. What you are about to hear carries the energy of a rare turning point, something connected to May 22nd and 23rd, 2026, that feels destined rather than accidental. Through all the noise surrounding you, this message still found its way into your hands for a reason. Take a breath and let that settle inside you. Something long preparing beneath your life is finally beginning to awaken. What you are feeling reaches beyond logic. It feels less like coincidence and more like destiny, quietly asking you to pay attention. As May 22nd and 23rd approach, a hidden doorway begins opening through an unusual alignment between Jupiter, the planet tied to growth and higher understanding, and the deeper emotional currents moving through your chart. This is not only astrology, it feels like an unseen blueprint slowly rising into view. And Scorpio, whether you realize it yet or not, you are standing directly at the center of that transformation. Life has been preparing you for this moment in ways you may only now begin understanding. The disappointments, delays, and silent struggles that once felt meaningless were reshaping something deeper within you. You were not being rejected by the universe, you were being redirected toward a version of yourself strong enough to carry what comes next. Somewhere beneath your everyday life, you have always sensed another truth, moving quietly like a current beneath dark water, whispering through dreams and instincts you could never fully explain. And now that whisper is becoming impossible to ignore. So ask yourself honestly, are you ready to receive what has been trying to find you? Because this is not simply a prediction, it is a reflection of something sacred unfolding within your own path. The dreams you buried, especially the ones you convinced yourself were impossible, are beginning to return with new meaning attached to them. They no longer feel like fantasies, they feel like unfinished pieces of your soul asking to be reclaimed. And Scorpio, you will not move through this shift alone. Around this time, a message, a voice, or even someone from your past may suddenly reappear, carrying the clarity or support you have been waiting for longer than you realize. Stay emotionally open, because transformations like this rarely announce themselves twice. Before moving deeper into this message, I genuinely want to thank you for being here, for every comment, every like, and every person who keeps returning to these conversations. What is being created here feels larger than an audience. It feels like people gathering together to search for truth beneath appearances and trust what their spirit has quietly known all along. And if these words already feel familiar somewhere deep inside you, leave the number 222 in the comments below as your way of saying, May 22nd and 23 mark the moment I reclaim my power. Stay with me, Scorpio, because what begins unfolding from here carries the feeling of standing at the edge of something life-changing. Sometimes an invisible shift begins moving beneath everything we thought we understood, slowly reshaping who we are becoming. And for you, that movement starts now, like something buried beneath ashes, finally drawing breath again inside the hidden architecture of your life. For you, Scorpio, this transformation begins in the stars, though not in some distant, poetic sense. It arrives through a rare alignment that feels less like luck and more like a hidden doorway, finally unlocking after years beneath the surface. As May 22nd and 23rd draw closer, something ancient within your spirit begins responding to the timing of it all. This energy does not simply pass through your life, bringing temporary fortune. It opens a passage inward toward truths, instincts, and hidden parts of yourself waiting for the right moment to awaken. In astrological terms, Jupiter moves into Gemini during this period, expanding thought, communication, and awareness itself. For Scorpio, this creates tension between what has remained hidden and what is finally ready to be understood, as though unseen rooms within your life are slowly filling with light. At the same time, Pluto works quietly beneath the surface, transforming emotional layers you have carried for years. Together, these energies reach into the deepest parts of your being, touching not only your dreams, but the fears attached to them. The parts of you that stayed quiet to survive, softened your truth, or hid your intensity, now face an important question. Are you finally ready to reclaim the pieces of yourself you buried just to make it through? Scorpio, beneath your stillness has always lived someone capable of profound transformation. This alignment is not gently suggesting change, it is calling it forward. If you have felt your soul waiting for a breakthrough, trust that feeling. Something locked inside you is finally beginning to move. What makes this energy sacred is not astrology alone, but the timing of it. Think of how waves gather beneath the ocean before rising with unstoppable force. May 22nd and 23rd carry that same feeling. The pain you survived, the gifts you kept hidden, and the dreams you nearly abandoned are converging into one realization, whispering, "You are ready now." And the miracles connected to moments like this rarely arrive through chaos. They arrive through alignment. One conversation, one realization, one unexpected encounter unfolding exactly when it is meant to. You may already feel this shift moving quietly through your life. A memory resurfacing, a dream returning with strange intensity. That is not nostalgia, it is activation. As Jupiter sharpens awareness and Pluto stirs transformation beneath the surface, the call becomes harder to ignore. What once felt like a whisper inside you now presses against the walls you built around yourself. Do not fear your own depth. You are not being asked to rush or figure everything out today. What matters most is your willingness to pause long enough to recognize what is unfolding. There is a reason this message found you, and it reaches far beyond coincidence. You are being offered more than information. You are being handed revelation, the kind that quietly reshapes the emotional blueprint beneath your life before it changes anything outside of you. So sit with whatever is rising now. Ask yourself what truth you are finally ready to face. What desire have you silenced for too long? What old story no longer deserves to define your future? Because beyond this doorway waits more than another chapter. It carries a completely different way of experiencing your life, rooted in honesty, depth, and the version of yourself that has been trying to emerge all along. Some awakenings never arrive loudly. They come softly, like a forgotten name returning to your mind, or the sudden feeling of recognition moving through you before you understand why. That is the energy surrounding you now. Scorpio, the star, judgment, and the Ace of Swords appear together now like quiet messengers standing at the edge of your transformation. Together, they form a bridge between the person you became through survival and the deeper self still waiting beneath the surface to fully emerge. These cards do not arrive loudly. They move like whispers through dark water, carrying a truth your spirit may finally be ready to face. The star brings healing to places where disappointment once convinced you nothing beautiful could grow again. This is not fragile hope before heartbreak, but the steadier kind born after loss and disillusionment, after life stripped away illusion and left only what was real. If there is a dream you buried because the timing felt wrong or because no one understood it, this message reaches directly toward that hidden part of you. What disappeared never truly died. It only withdrew beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to rise again, stronger than before. Now that dream begins returning, not as fantasy, but as purpose. Judgment arrives not to shame your past, but to awaken something inside you that has been sleeping too long. It asks you to look back with understanding instead of regret. The version of yourself you outgrew was never a mistake. It was simply one chapter in a much deeper becoming. When this call reaches you, something inside immediately recognizes it. You begin realizing you can no longer survive by living only on the surface of your life. Something ancient within you wants to return, something sacred and deeply connected to who you were before fear taught you to shrink yourself. Then the Ace of Swords cuts through confusion like lightning across a midnight sky, and suddenly one truth becomes impossible to ignore. That clarity may arrive through something ordinary, a line in a book, a conversation, a memory returning with new meaning, maybe even a message from someone you thought had disappeared from your story. The Ace of Swords represents not only mental clarity, but the spiritual permission to stop avoiding the truth circling inside you. And this energy is not only about seeing the truth, it is about speaking it, accepting it, and allowing it to redirect your path. When these three energies meet, what they truly offer is resurrection. Not only of a dream, but of the version of yourself who once believed in that dream before the world taught you to doubt your own depth. This is not simply another chance. It feels more like a genuine beginning, because now you carry wisdom earned through experience instead of hope built only on imagination. In everyday life, this may appear as an old idea returning unexpectedly, a connection reopening after years of silence, or a path you once feared slowly revealing itself as the one that fits you most honestly. Perhaps even an opportunity that once slipped away circles back toward you again. Only this time, something inside you has changed. This time, you are emotionally ready to meet it. You may not immediately know what to do with everything resurfacing now, and that is okay. The deeper message is not to rush towards certainty, but to pay attention. Notice the conversations that keep repeating. Notice what your body feels when certain names return or familiar places suddenly carry emotional weight again. Trust the feeling that something once closed is quietly opening from within. The deepest transformations rarely begin with noise. They begin with whispers, almost missed, until something inside pauses and says, "Listen carefully." Those whispers are not random. They are invitations from the version of you already waiting on the other side of courage. And for you, Scorpio, as May 22nd and 23rd approach, several quiet shifts begin unfolding beneath the surface of your life, all connected by one deeper current, the return of something you believed was lost. It may begin with a name reappearing unexpectedly, a message arriving at the perfect moment, or a reconnection that feels impossible to explain logically. Perhaps someone from your past returns not to reopen pain, but to bring insight, trust, clarity, or even peace you forgot you were missing. And as these moments unfold, part of you may instinctively want to protect yourself and question what is returning. But this season of healing no longer asks you to stay guarded at every turn. It asks for awareness, honesty, and the willingness to see differently. Allow yourself to consider that what is returning may have changed, or perhaps the deeper transformation has happened within you. Soon after that realization, another buried dream begins surfacing, something you once abandoned because life became too heavy or emotionally exhausting to carry. Maybe it was a path, a creative vision, or even a version of yourself you stopped recognizing. But now this dream returns, carrying direction, structure, and support. And this time, you are not carrying it alone. Someone appears who sees your truth clearly, someone who recognizes the fire you once dimmed for others and has no desire to extinguish it again. Instead of reshaping you, they want to build beside you. During this phase, your presence begins affecting people naturally. You stop forcing outcomes, yet life begins shifting anyway. Others listen more closely, not because you become louder, but because your energy now carries clarity instead of confusion. You stop chasing validation and begin attracting what honestly aligns with who you are becoming. There is a quiet power in certainty that speaks louder than constant proving ever could. The moment you choose peace over performance and honesty over control, life begins rearranging itself around that choice. Grace often arrives like a door, slowly opening somewhere in the distance, one you only notice because you finally became still enough to hear it. These moments are not asking you to be perfect, they are asking you to be present. This season is not about endless struggle or emotional exhaustion. It is about truth. Who are you becoming now that you have outgrown the noise that once defined you? What parts of yourself are ready to return simply because they were always yours? This is how quieter miracles begin, not through spectacle, but through the slow rebuilding of your inner world, one honest moment at a time. And if doubt still whispers through old fears, allow stillness to guide you instead of panic. You do not need to rush toward answers before your spirit is ready to hold them. All you truly need is the willingness to trust what your soul already recognizes. If something returns and your whole body responds before your mind understands why, then maybe this is not random at all. Maybe this is the timing you once prayed for, finally reaching you through a different doorway than expected. Let this become the season where you stop mistaking stillness for stagnation, and remember that real power has very little to do with noise. And once you understand that, life begins responding differently, not through force, but through alignment. Scorpio, you are stepping into a transformation capable of changing far more than your circumstances. Yet not every life-changing shift begins dramatically. Sometimes it begins with one quiet moment where you pause before reacting, breathe before speaking, and listen inward instead of endlessly searching outside yourself. As this rare doorway opens around May 22nd and 23rd, what matters most is not only the choices you make, but the energy you carry while making them. Your inner frequency becomes the compass guiding everything else. This is where spiritual practice turns into lived transformation, where the small rituals woven into daily life quietly shape the future your soul has been reaching toward. This moment is not asking for extreme change, it asks for intentional presence. Begin simply. Give yourself a few quiet minutes each morning, untouched by noise. Place a hand over your heart and breathe as though welcoming the future version of yourself, waiting patiently to emerge. Then exhale slowly, releasing old fears, identities, and emotional armor that no longer belong to who you are becoming. Whisper softly to yourself, "I am being prepared for something transformative." Even if doubt still lingers, continue speaking those words until fear begins loosening its hold on your body. You are not forcing miracles into existence. You are creating the emotional space where transformation can finally take root. And let movement become gentle too. A quiet walk at sunrise, slow stretching, deep breaths in cool morning air that help release the stories your body has carried silently for far too long. Allow your body to become a place of calm, not just accomplishment. So many emotions settle silently into the shoulders, the spine, the tension we carry without noticing. When you move gently instead of constantly pushing forward, something hidden begins to loosen beneath the surface. Old heaviness leaves the body like stories finally releasing their grip after years of silence. What you feed yourself matters deeply during this season. Fresh greens, herbs, and citrus can help lighten emotional weight and bring clarity back into your system, while foods rich in omega-3s support both the mind and the nervous system. This is more than physical care. It is inner alignment unfolding quietly from within. Colors may begin carrying emotional meaning too. Deep blues calm the mind and strengthen intuition, while silver-white tones remind you that every ending carries the beginning of something new. Rose and violet soften emotional walls that no longer need to stay guarded. Scorpio, this is not the season to prove your strength through resistance. It is the season to let grace move through you without fearing what softness might uncover. You may also notice repeating numbers appearing more often now. The energies surrounding 22 and 11 feel especially significant during this period. 22 reflects the power to build something lasting from truth, while 11 strengthens intuition and spiritual awareness. If you catch 1111 unexpectedly or see patterns repeating around you, allow them to feel like quiet confirmation that your spirit is already moving in the right direction. Still, signs alone do not transform a life. The deeper shift begins when you choose to move through your days differently, more awake to yourself, more trusting of your intuition, softer without losing your strength. You do not need to see the entire future clearly right now. You only need enough courage to trust the next step waiting in front of you. And if your heart has grown tired from carrying burdens no one else fully sees, let this become the season where you begin receiving again. Not only answers, but peace. Not only clarity, but rest. You are not meant to solve your whole future overnight. You only need to care for yourself with the same compassion you so freely offer others. Even now, unseen things are shifting quietly on your behalf. Keep moving forward, gently. Keep breathing through uncertainty instead of fighting it. Miracles rarely arrive like thunder splitting the sky. More often, they begin as whispers that slowly unfold into the very thing your soul has long been searching for. Sometimes the moments where life feels most uncertain are the same moments where transformation quietly begins underneath everything. Not because you forced every answer into place, but because you finally loosened your grip enough to let something deeper enter. Scorpio, few understand the balance between surrender and inner strength the way you do. And often, the biggest turning points begin through one quiet moment of trust. There is a story I want to share with you, not as advice, but as a reflection of what becomes possible when someone stops resisting change. She was a Scorpio woman who had built a beautiful life around herself, meaningful work, deep relationships, and a home filled with her spirit. But slowly, then all at once, everything began collapsing. Financial pressure grew heavier, her career started unraveling, and a relationship she believed would last faded into silence. What she lost was not only stability, but her sense of self beneath it all. For months she pushed harder, trying to rebuild everything through effort alone. Yet the more she fought for control, the more exhausted and disconnected she became. Then one morning, near May 22nd, she opened her email and found a message from someone she never expected to hear from again. It came from a former rival. The message was simple, an invitation to collaborate, a chance to build something stronger together instead of apart. Every instinct inside her wanted to hesitate and protect herself from disappointment. Yet something softened within her, because part of her was finally tired of living with every door closed. She said yes, and that single decision began changing everything around her. Within months, they created something new together that honored her gifts without draining her spirit. Financial stability slowly returned, but more importantly, so did her clarity, confidence, and joy. She rebuilt relationships with greater honesty and finally began making peace with the parts of herself she had hidden away for years. Even love returned to her life, not through chaos or fantasy, but as something steady and safe enough that she no longer felt the need to become someone else to keep it. Later she wrote, "The path only reappeared when I stopped trying to control everything. I fought life so hard that I never realized the miracle had been trying to find me the entire time." Stories like this happen quietly every day. They appear through messages, conversations, small nudges, and opportunities we almost overlook because they arrive so softly. Whether people call it intuition, divine timing, God, or the universe, the thread remains the same. Something greater begins moving through our lives the moment we stop resisting it. So if you are standing inside uncertainty right now, Scorpio, do not rush to rebuild everything through logic alone. Leave room for what cannot yet be explained. Leave room for possibilities that may not resemble your original plan, but still feel connected to your healing. Sometimes everything changes through one unexpected message, one quiet invitation, one moment where you choose openness over fear. Many people wait for miracles to arrive dramatically, like lightning across the sky. But what if the miracle already arrived through your own awakening? As May 22nd and 23rd approach, stop searching outside yourself for proof and listen instead to the quieter voice within. The voice that has followed you through every longing, every buried dream, every moment your intuition told you to wait. That voice is not separate from the miracle. It is the miracle. You are not simply searching for transformation, you are becoming it. Every intentional pause, every honest yes or necessary no, every moment you choose your inner truth over outside pressure becomes part of your unfolding. This season does not require you to have every answer. It only asks that you become more present, more open, and more willing to trust what your spirit already knows. Can you begin your mornings with stillness? Can you speak your dream aloud again, even if your voice still shakes? Can you trust the people returning to your life now, not because the past was perfect, but because you are no longer the same person? Let this chapter become less about how quickly things happen and more about how honestly you return to yourself. You do not need to chase miracles. You already carry one inside you. Scorpio, true transformation begins the moment you stop waiting for permission and finally answer the deeper call rising within. So now I want to ask you honestly, what truth are you finally ready to live? What part of yourself is ready to return after being hidden for so long? And are you willing to release the version of yourself built only for survival, so the truest version of you can finally rise? If your spirit feels ready, leave this in the comments below. I trust the transformation unfolding within me. Let those words become more than a sentence. Let them become a promise to yourself as this new chapter begins unfolding. And if this video awakens something inside you, share it. Someone else may be waiting for the exact message your story could bring into their life. Remember this, you are not walking through this alone. This space exists for people searching for healing, clarity, emotional truth, and the courage to fully become who they were always meant to be. Thank you for being here, for trusting this message, and for allowing yourself to awaken again. And if you have not already, take a moment to subscribe, like this video, and leave your comment below. Not only to support this space, but to honor your own unfolding transformation. Scorpio, this is not an ending. It is the quiet turning of a new chapter, one waiting for you to shape through the truth you are finally ready to live.